Well, it's getting hitched, the key to getting rich. A new strategy could take the wind out of President Obama's recent war on income equality. President Obama says raise the minimum wage and extend unemployment benefits. But President George W. Bush's former press secretary is looking at the numbers. He has another idea. Ari Fleischer says the best way to fight back is just get married. Ari Fleischer joins us. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Greta.
All right, tell me why getting married is the best way out of this, about the income equality issue.
Well, when you look what's happened to America since the war on poverty began in 1964, 93% of us were born into homes that had two parents, two married parents. Now the numbers are abysmal. Almost half of all children born in America today are born into homes out of wedlock. Single moms raising children. It's 1/4 of all whites, 50% of all Hispanics, and 3/4 of every black baby born in America today has a dad who's not there, parents who are not married. And you wonder why it's so hard to raise children and make ends meet. From the moment these children are born, they don't have a chance. It's much harder for them than it is for a family that's born with two parents. That's what's such a big driver, Greta, behind income inequality and poverty. Children who are being raised in single-parent homes where the dad was never there and never there from the start. It's common sense.
In your op-ed piece today in the Wall Street Journal, I mean, the numbers are stunning. The African-American families, if they're married families with children, 7% are below the poverty rate. If unmarried, it's 35.6. Similarly, white is 3.2. Unmarried is 22%. Dramatically different if you're unmarried families. But I'm curious. In terms of this, is that there's been no push from our leaders. There's virtually no emphasis on families trying to sort of hold together or try to have a marriage first, whatever your marriage is, and then have a family. And at that point, I mean, we almost we see so much where single parents it's glorified as though it's something easy to do, and it's not.
The debate in Washington is stuck on old formulas that have not worked and will not work. Redistribution of income, increasing the redistribution is not going to solve these intractable problems. The focus has to shift. It has to shift to how do you change society? How do you change people's behavior, which is a destructive, harmful behavior? How do you make people stop having children and first get married and then have children? And you know what? There are wonderful groups. There are nonprofit groups all around this country. Robert Woodson Sr. runs a group called the Center for Neighborhood Enterprise. It's one of the best groups in the country that's doing these kinds of things from the inside out, from neighborhoods out. That's where the solution is. It's much more a values and a decision-based matter than it is a can government spend money matter.
Why isn't the dialogue about that? Why can't it even be a dialogue about both? I mean, why isn't the dialogue the emphasis on? It just isn't. I mean, Hollywood doesn't try to sort of push that issue of it's like families intact is better.
The definition of compassion in Washington for generations has been, did you spend more money than the other guy? And that's why our deficits are so high and our problems are unsolved. They're asking the wrong question. Common sense just tells you that this is the area you need to focus if you really want to help children, if you want to help families escape poverty. And there is no one more articulate and better on this issue, or would be, than President Obama, who has talked about this in several of his speeches. He hasn't really invested in it or followed up in it, but he does talk about it. He has urged fathers to stay home. He's talked about the importance of two parents raising children. He defied the odds because he was brought up by a single mom and his grandparents and became president of the United States. This needs to be a real moral crusade. That's how you turn around societies. That's how you change values. And this is a value-laden fight. It is much more values than it is economics, interestingly. Because, as I said, you can raise taxes all you want and try to give that money to somebody else. So long as they're still born in a home where the dad is never there and the mom is struggling to make ends meet, you can't redistribute enough money to pull them out of poverty and to get them through what they're going through. It's a very different America than we were before. Some things need to move back.
Indeed. Anyway, two parents better than one, even looking at it from an economic standpoint. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Greta.